Remember the whole 2012 Mayan calendar scare from a few years ago? You know the one. The Mayan calendar ended in 2012, so the whole world was supposed to end. People spent their entire life saying some stupid shit and were shocked when the next day began as normal. Okay, maybe not really normal, as most of them were broke, but that's besides the point. In any case, a team called Dark Arts Entertainment decided that this would be the perfect premise for a game. And they're right, it would have. However, not in the way that they decided to execute it. When you think of a world-ending game, you probably think of some sort of survival game where meteors are crashing to the ground, oceans are flooding, beaches of continents, and people are going absolutely batshit crazy, right? Well, Revelations 2012 doesn't really have any of that. This game is essentially a $10 mod to Left 4 Dead. Everything from the tips to the playstyle are pretty much cloned from the game, and it's painfully obvious that it's using the same engine. So, what went wrong? Well, for starters, look at the title screen. It looks like something drawn in paint. It worried me a bit when seeing this because shouldn't that title screen be the absolute first impression that you get for a game you're about to play? Well, the intro will start playing, and it actually looks kind of promising. Sure, I've seen better cinematics, and I think we all have, but there's nothing that can be really too damning. Then we get to the menu. Here's when you can really tell that it's just using the Left 4 Dead engine. The menu looks identical. I just wish I had better music. It's just a tribal dance tune featuring the Mayans dancing around a fire. Yeah, this is exciting. Just like Left 4 Dead, you choose the character you want to play as in the campaign. Unlike Left 4 Dead, the later campaigns are locked until you complete the previous ones, so you're forced to play the game in order, which actually makes perfect sense. Once the game starts, you get thrown into it. The High Priest gives you a quick rundown of your weapon, which is some sort of magical gauntlet or something that fires projectiles based on what crystal you have equipped. These crystals are unlocked after killing the boss of each campaign, so for the first part of the game, you're stuck with the white one, which is your basic shot. You do also have a secondary shot, which essentially acts like a grenade launcher. Right-clicking fires this blast, doing area damage, but also seeming not to do as much harm as it should. Before I really start picking this game apart, there is one thing I must say. The environmental visuals look pretty well done. The maps actually feel like they could be potential tribal villages. Most impressive are the waterfalls, which actually look pretty damn cool. I also like the detail when the Mayans perish. Basically, their skin fries and they turn into skeletons, which then fade off into non-existence. It's pretty cool looking, but if only the rest of the game was that good. But where do I start? Well, I'm talking about the visuals, so I guess we'll begin with the looks of the characters. They all look generic, with no real uniqueness or originality among them. I'm not sure if they're related or not, but they sure seem to act like they are. I guess it's pretty surprising that they're actually wearing different clothing. All of them look pretty angry on the character selection menu, which I guess I can't blame them for being so, because they're sucked into this alternate dimension of Mayans trying to kill them. The next thing I absolutely must talk about is the voice acting. It's beyond horrible. In fact, I don't think there's a word that properly identifies how bad it is. The actors speak out the lines like they just don't give a shit. The quotes are repeated constantly. The quality is worse than the acting in many B-movies. The best quote in the game is this part here.
I might as well shoot myself in the head.
Did you manage to hear that? The character actually states, I may as well just shoot myself. Well, that's pretty much how I felt when playing it. How about the gameplay? Well, maybe if some sort of modifications were done to the engine to make it a bit more original from Left 4 Dead, it may have worked a bit better, but unfortunately, there's very little added that really give the game that originality. You still have mobs of Mayans running at you, although not nearly to the extent of the zombies in the source game. There's some nice additions in the form of traps, like pits and logs, but at the same time they're so rare that it's almost not worth mentioning. Not to mention that some of those pits are extremely hard to see, and if you fall into one, your computer-controlled teammates will often decide to take a look at what you're hanging above more closely. Speaking of the AI, these guys are fucking dumb. They'll often shoot at you more than any of the teammates in Left 4 Dead ever did, although they still don't do any kind of damage. They don't prioritize what to attack or do, so they'll often help you up before killing the remaining enemies. They'll also seemingly let themselves get overrun just to make you work to save them. The problem is that there is a segment in the second campaign that I was unable to complete due to the stupidity of the AI. Basically, you have to attack 4 crystals to open up a door. First off, there's no real indication that these crystals are getting hit, so you're not sure if you're making any progress or not. Once they do break after about 1,000,000 shots, you have to repeat it about 3 times. Here's my dilemma. Oftentimes, AI just doesn't shoot at the crystals or even watch your back. Therefore, they're falling frequently, so it's up to you whether or not you want to save them. I tried both strategies, and neither seemed to work. Maybe I'm just missing something here, but because the AI doesn't watch my back, it's nearly impossible to complete this puzzle. Add in a tank-like mini-boss, a lack of additional ammo, and you're truly fucked. Since I talked about the tank, you do have to fight Revelation 2012's version of one. The one big improvement is that they show a health meter. But because every good must have an evil, this game decides that the mini-boss has the power to paralyze you, and it uses it frequently. Nothing is more frustrating than firing at it, and then suddenly stopping due to its attack. Otherwise, these mini-bosses aren't too terribly difficult, merely just irritating. But then again, there's the true bosses of the game. I was only able to get to one, and it was bad enough. The boss's name was Ick. It has 2 attacks. The one is to create skulls that attack you. The second is to use some sort of wind attack. It'll create a cyclone that brings rocks hurling towards you. If you survive the rocks, it will spin around and make you go around and around like a psychotic merry-go-round. They'll then propel you outwards and you take fall damage. To my knowledge, there is no way to avoid this, which is really stupid if you ask me. The boss will eventually fall and you'll be taken to the second campaign, of which I can't even complete due to those fucking crystals that need to be destroyed. Fortunately, you do have infinite ammo. You do also have an ammo counter though. Basically, you can have rapid fire as long as you have ammunition left. Once you run out, you're limited to 1 shot at a time. This is highly inadequate when dealing with hundreds of Mayans. Ammo is located in several areas though, and once you complete a campaign, you get access to a new crystal on your gauntlet, which acts like a new weapon. For example, the blue crystal gives you something sort of like a shotgun. So in a nutshell, until you finish the campaign, you're stuck with one freaking weapon. Talk about boring. Also, Left 4 Dead featured health packs that you need to regenerate your health, but Revelation 2012 has a completely different take on that. Basically, after each level you fully heal up, so no health packs are ever necessary. Also, when killing Mayans, you can find that they leave hearts behind. If you pick them up, you regenerate a small amount of health. Before a later patch though, the friendly AI wouldn't pick them up, so they'd practically let themselves die. Now, what do these guys do with the hearts? Do they just touch them to heal up, or are they eaten? Oh, and when I started the game, I immediately found a problem. It was eventually patched, but it was still in existence when I really thought it should have been cleared in bug testing. The primary fire control was unmapped. I thought I was doing something wrong when I started, but when I checked the controls, the fire button was blank. How the hell do you release a game when the primary attack feature is disabled by default? Was this a trick to make sure I was just one of the chosen and worthy of this adventure? Because if that's the case, I probably should have just uninstalled it right away and saved myself the trouble. There's one other thing about this game that makes no fucking sense. You can press F to initiate a third-person dance move that lasts for a few seconds. When doing it, the character starts dancing and seems to move around faster than normal. You also can't attack in this. What the fuck is the deal with this? And why is it here? Was this game trying to be silly? It has a very serious overtone, but at the same time, doesn't really know whether or not to take itself seriously. I can't enjoy a game when it alternates between realistic and oddly fucked up like this one is. Revelation 2012 is a game that is best avoided at all costs. It does have some slightly redeeming factors, but you're better off just playing the games that its engine was based off of. Final score? Hold on, I'm not done yet. I actually started playing this game in the spring of 2012. I didn't get around to actually completing it until fall of 2013. And by completing, I mean giving the fuck up. I had previously stopped just because I got so damn angry at that crystal puzzle. So I decided it was time to actually finish this fucking game. And when I went and reinstalled it, I found that there was yet another patch that completely redid a lot of things. First off, the individuality of the character models are gone. Now they're all clad in stormtrooper-like white outfits. You also get a brand new gun, which sucks even more than the Gauntlet did, and I didn't even think that was possible. The ammunition is much more limited to it, only giving you 99 shots before reduced to a single shot blast. This change in itself makes the game even more difficult than it needs to be. Finally, the AI seems to be even stupider than before. I tried playing the game again and finally gave up for good. As I said, just stay away from this game. I only paid $5 for it on a Steam sale, and even that was too high of a price. It's a game that should have been a free mod to Left 4 Dead instead of a full-fledged game, because it just feels unpolished. I don't know who has more bored with this game, me or the characters inside of it. Final score, 2 out of 10. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.
I might as well shoot myself in